Hello and welcome to Bucks Podcast. I'm Anthony Danu along with Terrell Drevick. The Bucks just lost game 4 of the first round. They are now down 3-1. Every game from here on out is elimination. If the Bucks lose at all, their hopes of a championship in 2023 are over. Sadness, disappointment, but it's not over yet. If there's a team and a player who can come back from 3-1, I think Giannis is definitely in one of those few. But the Bucks have to play better, and I don't think you're going to get a game like we got, 56, 57 from Jimmy Butler?
56 points.
56 points from Jimmy Butler for them to have a comeback victory over the last couple minutes. The Bucks led close to wire until those last couple minutes. Martin 3 and a long 2 here and there. Jimmy Butler, his first quarter and his fourth quarter, just incredible. But what do you got for me, man? I know you said you got a little checklist going for all your sadness and frustrations.
Yeah. I didn't know how to start tonight's show off. I was thinking, just do a quick recap of what we saw tonight. But then again, I kind of thought about it and I said, what actually went wrong? What was the plan tonight and what went wrong with that plan? So I decided to do a little checklist here. So the first step was establish the interior offense. And that was with Brook Lopez and Giannis. I thought they did a great job. The little two-man game we saw tonight. So hey, that's
great
completed.
Connections. Yeah, great connections from Brook and Giannis throughout the game, especially in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. Giannis, his passing has been better this year than we've ever seen in his career. His no looks are there. It's closer to hitting shooters in the pocket, and he's just had an amazing year passing the basketball. Like, he's on another level right now. And him and Brook had such great chemistry tonight. I think it was the best we've seen those two work together in any game.
Yeah, and Brook is he's so happy to have Giannis back. He had 36 points tonight. Probably the best playoff game he's played so far this series.
Yeah, that's more than points than he had combined in games 1 and 3, the games that the Bucks also lost. But huge. We know we needed something big from Brook tonight, and we got it. Sadly, it still wasn't enough when Jimmy Butler gets another 20 on top of Lopez's 36.
Yep, and let's point out that Brook Lopez, coming into tonight's game, he did not have a three-point make in this series. Tonight, he was 4 of 7, double-checking here, 4 of 7 for Brook Lopez tonight from 3. So, checklist number 2, item number 2 here, get to the free throw line. The Bucks went 17 of 20 tonight from the free throw line. Well, hey, check. So we got the first 2 off the list. Win 3 out of 4 quarters. Bucks won the first quarter.
Sure
and
did.
the stat was, if in this series, if you win the first quarter, you win the game. That's the way it's been. So they won the first quarter, they won the second quarter, they won the third quarter, so they won 3 out of 4 quarters. Check. Okay. We're on a hot start here. We got 3 out of 3. Number 4, start fast. The Bucks open the game tonight, 17-5 run. That's how they open the game.
Yeah, great energy. Giannis and Brook were both awesome, like you said, both established down low. Brook was hitting from the outside. Everyone was looking to score. Grayson looked good. Drew couldn't quite get his shot, and Chris, those two weren't necessarily great in the first quarter, first half. But I thought with everything going on that the Bucks were going to be fine, and maybe they would kind of find it later on.
So we're doing good so far, right? Should be a win in our book, according to this checklist. Talk about rebounding here. Defensive rebounding. Limit them to a 1 and done. They did that tonight. How about offensive rebounding? Offensive rebounding, the Bucks, they had 16. The Heat had 9 rebounds. Yeah, that's a win. That's a check right there.
At halftime, Lopez, 17 points, 7 rebounds. Of his 7 rebounds, 4 were offensive rebounds. And that's just at halftime for Brook.
Yeah, that just shows you the size that the Bucks have against the Heat. So what are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're on item number 6 here. Item number 6 is, outside of Jimmy Butler, each member of the Heat committee cannot have over 20 points. At least one of them cannot have over 20 points. The second highest scorer was Bam Adebayo with 15 points. And the third highest scorer was Caleb Martin with 12 points.
Yep.
And Gabe Vincent with 10 points. So Nobody had in that committee, nobody had over 20 points. Check. They did that. The last item on here, what do you think it is?
Suffocating Jimmy Butler.
Stop Jimmy Butler. He had 56 points tonight. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 7 on the checklist.
I give so much credit to Jimmy Butler and what he did against Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday, it's not like he ever looks bad on defense, but he looks challenged to say the least. And Drew is just voted by all the NBA players as the best defender. You know, he has never gotten a Defensive Player of the Year award, but he's certainly to his peers in the NBA, he is that. But it wasn't like the Heat are trying to kind of throw a bunch of smoke and mirrors to get Jimmy Butler open and get someone else, a Pat Connaughton, a Grace Allen, Brooke Lopez, switched onto Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is doing this one-on-one against Drew Holiday. So yeah, they're setting up in an ISOs, but it's not like it's like I said, a bunch of smoke and mirrors or kind of different tricks of the trade to get Jimmy Butler with a favorable matchup. It is Jimmy Butler scoring on whoever is guarding him, and that includes Drew Holiday most of the time.
And when you see a big number like 56 points, you usually say, oh, maybe that shooter went off that night and had himself a night. No, this Jimmy Butler performance that we saw tonight, it was unreal. He was scoring from the outside. Also, he was doing Jimmy Butler things where he drives to the lane, does a pump fake, does another pump fake. We saw a couple times where he does his signature jump into the defender, create space, and then give up a shot and possibly an and one. Like he was doing all sorts of basketball moves just to score the basketball. And the first quarter tonight, I can't recall another player that had a first quarter like that in a long, long time. I know they mentioned Dwayne Wade for the Heat, but outside of like in the past 4 or 5 years, I can't recall a quarter like that. Maybe Klay Thompson when he went off for 38. I think it was in a quarter.
When Jimmy's good, he's as good as anybody. Like he is on that level. He is the guy when it comes to that. Like what he had 20 straight points for the Heat in the first quarter, ended up with 24 in the first half in 21 minutes, and then he puts up 32 points in the second half. And I mean, just incredible stuff from him. And it was like, you know, who's getting the ball in the situation, right? Bam's not necessarily playing up to standards. Hero's out for the series. You know who's getting the ball. Like we know what their offense is, and they still could not stop Jimmy Butler with whatever. I don't know. Certainly, they've been okay leaving Drew on an island, and making sure that other guys don't get fed off of Jimmy. Like Strus with 0 points tonight. He took one shot. Only played 17 minutes. I know there was a couple early fouls, but like they did a good job of holding the other guys. And I wonder, that makes me wonder going into game 3, does that mean more double teams? Does that mean sending Drew help? Does that mean Jay Crowder gets to play at all? It's funny how the Wes Matthews injury ended up being so much more important than we might have thought, because we thought this Bucks team is so deep. But it's not really coming to that. We thought the Bucks physicality is definitely there, but we thought the depth would be the other thing, and that has not necessarily been the case in taking down the Heat, as the Bucks are down 3-1.
A couple positives tonight for the Bucks. They did a lot of positives. They just couldn't come away with the win. It seemed like I like how they opened the quarter. So they opened the game on a 17-5 run, like we mentioned. They opened the second half on a quick 5-0 run. Quick three-pointer here, and that really, I thought that sparked the offense in the second half.
What I loved about that too is that Chris and Drew did not have great first halves, but the Bucks made sure, like Chris and Drew were the first couple guys to hit shots. I think they hit the first 7 Bucks points. I know there was a Heat bucket mixed in there, like you said, but they did a good job of making sure, like, okay, no, not much from Chris and Drew in the first half, a combined like 9 points, 8 assists, something like that. But the Bucks made sure that Chris and Drew were hopefully going to get into rhythm in the second half, and we saw it right away, but we didn't see a continuation of that.
Yeah, all eyes were on Giannis tonight. Even the commentators, it seemed like it was the Heat against Giannis. And then when you look at the halftime stats, you go, "Oh my gosh, Brooke Lopez with 17 points. That was a quiet 17." But this one hurts. This one hurts. I mean, having Giannis back, it's night and day with that Bucks offense. It's a different identity that we've been seeing from game 2, game 3 to tonight. Um, you're talking about a guy who has a triple double. Usually, when a guy in your team has a triple double, you win the game as well. But Giannis, you can tell the defense sags in. They try to protect the rim. They bring extra defenders. So 3-point shooting, you're getting better looks, especially for Brook Lopez when they do that. The Giannis will do the back down dribble into the paint, and Brook will step out for the three at the top of the key. That happened 2-3 times tonight, but man, this one hurts.
Yeah, this one hurts, and not to obviously Drew's got such a tough and it's a tough position having to guard Jimmy Butler for the entire game. You wonder if the Bucks can throw some more matchups. If Giannis was able to play 38 minutes tonight, coming off of a week of not playing, I wonder if we see some more of him in Jimmy Butler, at least for maybe a quarter, a number of possessions to help give Drew some other time to play off ball and be able to have some time to gather himself offensively. There was 4 times where he took an early shot clock 3-pointer, missed it, and 3 of those 4 times the Heat got points off of it. 2 of 11 from 3 for Drew. Like that's. And there was times where it's just like, okay, he's just jacking up shots right now. It wasn't within the rhythm of the offense. It wasn't what you would kind of expect from a point guard. And we've seen Drew get hot before, but this was obviously a lot of struggles here. Shooting the ball, and 2 of 11 tells you all you need to know from 3-point land.
That could be it too. Like trying to pick apart what was the piece that really turned the game. Was it not hitting that open 3-point shot? To me, I think it was the Heat. There was a series where the Heat turned the ball over twice, and the Bucks came away with 1 point. They got a free throw off of it, and it seemed like, boy, if they get 4 or 5 points off those 2 turnovers, you go up 15, 16 points. The crowd's out of it. Like it seemed like that was the game. Was okay. They got it to 11 points. They got the lead to 11 points, and then the Heat would come back. They get within 9. And next thing you know, it would just shift. And you're like, oh, well, let's get it back to double digits. Let's get the crowd out of it again. And yeah, the Heat went on that 11-0 run in the 4th, and that's what did it.
You think with all of Drew's responsibilities defensively, that's why he's having a hard time on offense getting things going there?
Yeah, he came out and said that he needs to stop shooting or shooting less, he said, and needs to start passing more. And being that guy that is more of a distributor, that more of the dribble drive kind of guy. I don't know why he made those comments. If he's saying that his shot's not there, he's having tired legs, or his focus is on Jimmy Butler all night, and maybe he's best utilized in the offense as that passer. But we didn't see the left hand Drew Holiday tonight.
No, we didn't get the penetrating. We didn't get the point guard Drew. We got the off-ball shooting guard, jack up threes kind of. But like I said, I think it's legs in this kind of series. The thing is, for me, we talked about your checklist. The Bucks did everything right except hold down Jimmy Butler to at least to a certain extent, and that was not the case. But can Jimmy Butler do this kind of what it took for them to win was 56 points from him? Do you think they can get that kind of performance from him another time? Because I'm not like, if it took this much from him for them to win, is that what it's going to take 3 more times? Because I don't see Jimmy Butler being able to replicate this game 3 more times. Obviously, he only has to do it once, though.
Good point. So the Bucks lost by 5 points. Jimmy Butler puts up 56 points. What is the threshold? If Jimmy Butler gets, say, 30 points on Wednesday,
I think that's going to be where the over-under is. Yeah, I mean, he was averaging 30 coming into tonight in the series. That's going to skyrocket upwards, but I imagine that's where the over-under will be. And I think for the Bucks to win, that's about where it's at. That you gotta stop Jimmy and make him a facilitator, and if that means bringing some more double teams, and yes, potentially giving Strus and Duncan Robinson and Kevin Love more 3-point opportunities. But then you got to try and run them off, because you can't just let it be the Jimmy Butler show, especially with all the injuries that the Heat have dealt with. Like you gotta force somebody else to beat you. And I think the Heat have been saying the Bucks have been saying, at least tonight, like it's going to be Jimmy. If they're going to beat us, it's going to be him, which I understand. But now your back's up against the wall. Like, I think you got to start bringing more double teams and make life a little bit harder for Jimmy and make him make the right decision, as opposed to how he proved tonight he can continue to make the right shot over and over again.
Mm-hmm. And let's take a look at Wednesday here. So the game plan tonight offensively, what'd you think? Did you like it? Should the Bucks roll with it into Wednesday's game?
I liked the offense a lot tonight. I thought, like you said, getting Brook involved early, he had more paint touches, even when it wasn't in a great situation. At least they got him the ball in the low post and then work things back outwards. You can always just take a three. You can always just jack up a 3-pointer, but actually working inside and then taking a 3-pointer, like the 3-pointer will always be there. You can do other things to work them down and see if something else can open up, like an open three or an open layup, or a nice Chris Middleton mid range. So I liked the intensity, and I liked they made sure like this was going to be, you know what I mean? Like Giannis looked like Giannis. So they did all the right things offensively, at least for a while. The issue was Drew not facilitating quite as much, and Chris just didn't quite have it. What did we get from Chris tonight? Yeah, 14 points. 8 assists is great, of course, 3 turnovers, but I think, you want to see Chris Middleton more in the playoffs. You want to see him 20 to 25 with 5 assists, 5 rebounds. And I think that's where things lie for him. And it's funny, like you just get those extra 6 points from Middleton. And I think, the Bucks win tonight and we're going home happy for Wednesday night.
Yeah, the only change I would make offensively on Wednesday is more ball screens. We want to try to get that isolation with Giannis on, say, not Bam Adebayo versus Giannis, but more of give me a guy.
Sure, Vincent Strus. I mean,
Exactly.
anybody, somebody who's Lowry, somebody whose only chance of defending him is trying to take the BS charge. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because right now Bam is the only one and who can really match up size wise and give Giannis problems. I also think that attacking Jimmy Butler on defense, which may sound silly, but when you go, it's the same thing. Like Drew's getting attacked on defense by Jimmy, and Drew doesn't quite have it offensively. If you go at Jimmy Butler a little bit more when the Bucks have the ball, I think you wear him down so he's not making, 5 shots in crunch time to win the game. I think you wear him down a little bit more by attacking him more and kind of seeing if you can get Giannis switched on him a couple times, or even Brook, and see if you can go at him. And it's hopefully gonna still be a long series, but I think you have to try and wear down Jimmy Butler if you want to help, get him help. I don't know, lessen his offense right now. His impact is just way too high.
And there's a good point right there, because if you look at what Jimmy Butler did in the second quarter, what was it? 2 points?
Yeah, 4 maybe.
So the only person slowing down Jimmy Butler tonight was Jimmy Butler. He was pretty tired after the first quarter and the performance he put up. So maybe, yes, I would agree. Throw some more guys at him. Maybe do a double team here and there. Try to get him tired. So yeah.
Tough one. So you got to you have to win 3 straight over the next 6 days. It's going to be Wednesday in Milwaukee. Friday we'll be back in Miami, and then a game 7 will hopefully be next Sunday back in Milwaukee. So, man, it's a tough one. You don't want to get into this problem, but when Giannis misses, almost 3 full games, that's maybe to be expected. And if I just don't see if they can just stick with Jimmy a little bit and go at him a little bit, I really don't think you're going to see this kind of performance again from Jimmy Butler in the series.
Yeah, let's hope not. That was a heck of a performance.
And just as a basketball fan, I can't tell you how much fun to watch that was. Obviously, as a Bucks fan, that's devastating. But as a basketball fan, Jimmy Butler is so much fun to watch. And when he gets hot, he is as good as any superstar there is. He can make any shot that's out there. He can defend, most players in positions. He's just like, I love his psycho killer mentality. Like Jimmy Butler's such a fun basketball player to watch. And this is very reminiscent of the 2020 run where you saw him, in the bubble against the Lakers in the NBA finals, just crouching over at the scorer's table or whatever it be, just seemingly giving everything he has to try and put his team over the top. So as a basketball fan, man, that was a great game. Ton of fun to watch, and Jimmy Butler is such an incredible player. Like always loved Jimmy Butler and have a ton of respect for him. It sucks when he's doing it against your favorite team, but man, we also have to little round of applause for Jimmy Butler tonight because like and for any other fan of an NBA team to watch tonight's game, like that's an exciting game. That's a fun game to watch. That's a fun one to be a part of. You hate to be on the losing end and you hate to be down 3-1 if you're the Bucks, and but this is, you have home court advantage, so you got to make use of it here. You gotta win Wednesday. That's all that matters right now, is just win Wednesday. Could be tough for Giannis. He's got to come back in less than 48 hours. They have to travel back home in that time.
Yeah,
What?
let's talk about the freak right here.
Yeah.
So tonight, Giannis, he went 12 of 22 for 26 points. He had 6 turnovers and 10 rebounds, 13 assists. So there's that triple double. But there's something in the stat line here that is not posted, and that was he made a pass down to, I believe, Brook Lopez late in the game and landed kind of funny on his left ankle, came up hobbling. The whole talk tonight was, how's the back going to hold up? How's the back? Because he had that back contusion. Now he might have an ankle problem too, a sprained ankle or something. What do you think? Are we going to see some tape on that on Wednesday?
Yeah, not a great combination when you pair anything with a back injury, let alone an ankle. It's he's already hobbling. We've kind of almost forgotten about the wrist injury from the NBA All-Star break. I imagine that's not fully healed either, and we've seen him take so many less jump shots over the last month or two, which of course is probably a good thing for a lot of Bucks fans and team success for what they want out of Giannis, but he's got all sorts of injuries right now. And yeah, you add the ankle to it. This is his first game back after missing a week of the playoffs. He's got to play on a travel, after traveling within 48 hours, and then again with travel, and then again if they were to keep winning. So this is not an enviable position to be in, but man, that legend certainly gets bigger and bigger if he's able to pull this one off down 3-1. I think man, that's why you hope the Bucks could get a lead and be able to rest him a little bit. And hopefully that's the case with the home crowd. Usually in home crowd and plus a playoff performance that you're getting a little bit more from your bench players. Hopefully, just some of your role players, Connaughton, Grayson Allen, Joe Ingles. Hopefully we get some more from these guys. Javon Carter was in for less than a minute, maybe at the very end of the first quarter. I remember seeing him in the game and then thinking back, like, did he get in? But yeah, he got in for just a second. We basically didn't see him at all tonight, other than, he played, like I said, it was a possession or two that he played. I wonder how that goes with getting him back into the rotation, or what kind of changes are made. Once again, we saw no Jay Crowder tonight, but I think you're going to need more from more guys, as Giannis it's not like he's going to get healthier in this situation, most likely. He's just piling up more injuries, sadly.
Yeah, you mentioned the reserves, the bench players here, and the biggest surprise tonight. So we had Bobby Portis with 13 minutes, Pat Connaughton 21 minutes, Joe Ingles with 18 minutes, Javon with just a few seconds sprinkled in. So out of those reserves,
only
which one is a surprise to you? Is it the first one?
Bobby for 13 minutes is flabber. There was a while in there I was like, wow, we really haven't seen much of him in the second half. And I didn't really realize that he only played 13 minutes. Brook and Giannis had it going so well together. I can understand why maybe, but I think Bobby, I almost would consider starting him and going with a really big lineup, because then he's going to guard probably Kevin Love, which is what we saw in last game without Giannis. And now Giannis can maybe guard a Strus out on the wing, and you have all this size to play with. And then also with more switches, if Jimmy Butler does get, someone like Bobby obviously can be more of a physical presence. Also, if he gets switched on to Jimmy Butler than a Grayson Allen would. I'm just kind of throwing things out there at this point, but you wonder and would imagine that Bobby's going to play twice as many minutes on Wednesday. He played 13 tonight, and I would guess that he would get upwards of 24, 26 in that range on Wednesday. That is a little bit weird. And it wasn't like it was foul trouble, and we didn't hear of any injuries. But yeah, that's a little bizarre.
Yeah, I think with the big three, which is Giannis, Brook, and Bobby Portis, I think there would be some kind of like alternating rotation there where if Brook comes out, Bobby goes in. Because if you think about it, when Giannis is guarding Kevin Love, he's not so much on the block anymore. He's more of
Nope.
your stretch four now, where he's going to
Absolutely.
pull the three. And when he's at the 3 point line, where is Giannis? He's at the 3 point line. So who's going to get the rebound? You got to rely on other guys that are smaller. It's going to be more of like a guard fight inside the paint, getting the rebound. So if you would just alternate maybe Bobby and Brook, you would also have another big guy down below to get the rebound as well defensively.
Sure. Another interesting thing about that is you talked about Bobby being the guy that they kind of switch in and out and kind of just use him to alternate with one of the starters and just kind of morph around that. But it was actually Pat Connaughton who, especially in the third quarter, Pat would come in for Chris for a few possessions, and then Chris would come back in for Giannis. So it would be kind of Pat Connaughton's moving around positions for whichever one of the starters was out at the time. But it seemed like it got into a very small, basically almost a six-man rotation, really, at a lot of times there in the second half. We already talked about Crowder not being in. Ingles did get some time. I love Joe Ingles guarding Kyle Lowry. I don't know why that always makes me laugh. It's just such an interesting, just the size differential and everything. But you look out there and you're kind of like, yeah, this matches up okay. Like, but I don't know why that always makes me laugh. But yeah, there's no way we don't get more from Bobby. So predictions. I say the Bucks at least win on Wednesday, and I don't even want to go further than that. I just think that you don't see a performance like this again from Jimmy Butler on Wednesday in Milwaukee. I think you get a huge performance from Giannis in probably less minutes, and I think that your role players step up, and we get a lot more time from Bobby, and hopefully some coaching X's and O's differences, like we talked about going at Jimmy Butler. Switching up defenders on him, maybe going with more size if Giannis is able to. That's what we saw work in the past. We've seen Giannis guarding Jimmy Butler, and that has won them the series in the first round 2 years ago. We've seen it before. Hopefully, we can see it again right here, right now, because it's all on the line at this point. It's you lose, you're done. It's time to start planning for the draft and how you're going to keep some of these guys and that's just changes everything and where all of our mentals are at when it goes to moving forward with the Bucks. I'd rather be thinking about basketball in June. Do I think the Bucks will come back? We had one comment from Tony Wiley. It's over for the Bucks. The Heat really about to upset this team. Well, I hope not, but it seems like that could be the case. And then Mist Beast, do you think the Bucks will come back? I do. I think the Bucks will come back. I think they can at least force a Game 7. I see them winning at home on Wednesday for sure. And then it just makes things interesting because I think you start putting a lot of pressure on the Heat and how are they going to stop Giannis? They weren't really able to stop him tonight, but Jimmy Butler was just so off the walls, crazy, wild, amazing that there's really nothing that they could do. I just don't see that happening again. And that's why I have a lot of faith in this Bucks team. And they've been down 2-0 to the Nets. They won the series. They've been down 2-0 in the NBA Finals. They went back and won the series. 3-1. Obviously, this is a different story, but there's no reason to think that this team, and with all their playoff experience, all the championship experience, the camaraderie that they have, everybody knowing each other in their roles, they just got to get a few things together, and it is absolutely possible. I have a lot of faith in this Bucks team to that they can come back.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what the line is on Wednesday. But if Charles Barkley is going to guarantee wins, just don't pick the Bucks because he did that tonight, and look what happened. But Wednesday, I don't like making predictions, especially when we're live on air, but I'm going Bucks by 9 Wednesday.
Ooh, I like it. All right. Very good. I think I'm interested to see the line when that's let out as well. I think that about does it. Do you have anything else for us, Terrell, or is any more other of our fun YouTube comments? Oh, we do got another one. I don't know how Jimmy Butler did that. That's what Ms. B said. Their second comment. That was nuts. That was just incredible. And you've got one of the best defenders on him in Jrue Holiday. That is a legendary playoff performance. Like that's one that we will talk about again in the future. Like Jimmy Butler's 56, and it's not like he's just lighting up bums out there. It is the guy, like the best perimeter defender in Drew Holiday.
I know I'm required to like this guy because he played at Marquette, right? But not when you play against the Bucks, right? Don't do that. So
Yeah. And we thought coming into the series, we'd have a couple of Marquette guys to stop him or at least help contain in Wes Matthews and Jay Crowder. And Jay Crowder's healthy scratch. I say healthy scratch. He's always got the back wrap on, so you never know there. But Wes has been out. I don't know if it was a hamstring. He hasn't been in there since game one when Giannis went down as well. So yeah, love the Marquette guys and always follow them. Another reason why I'll always love Jimmy Butler. And man, he's just as entertaining as it gets. He's made that team so much fun the last few years, and such good battles and rivals with the Bucks and the Heat and the Celtics and the other Sixers, the other Eastern Conference foes and rivals going on right now. So far this decade, really. Just been so much fun to watch, and yeah, so much respect for Jimmy Butler. Just an incredible performance tonight. That was, like I said, we'll be talking about that one for years and years. Something very special. Terrell, I think that about wraps things up, but I want to thank everybody for joining us. We really appreciate it if you guys could like, subscribe, follow, rate, review, whatever the case may be. We also put out the audio versions onto all the podcast platforms. You can probably check us out by tomorrow morning. If you ever missed an episode, want to go back and check us out on YouTube. We do a bunch of game reviews, and we will be back with you on Wednesday night. And we think Kyle McEwen will probably be back with us as well. So exciting times. Yeah. All right, folks, thanks for checking us out. We'll see you Wednesday night. Go Bucks. Bucks in 7.